Resuming debate, reprise du débat, the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Transport.
Hear, hear.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll be splitting my time with the member from Winnipeg North. Mr. Speaker, it is an honour to stand in the House today on behalf of the people of Burnaby and North Vancouver to speak in the strongest possible terms in favour of this motion. Canada and the world are in a very real and urgent climate crisis. If we are to ensure a better future for our kids and our grandkids and their grandkids after that, we can no longer take our environment for granted. Since being elected in 2015, our government has been firmly committed to climate action. The Pan-Canadian Framework on Clean Growth and Climate Change is a comprehensive framework that will ensure that we meet our Paris targets and go beyond them. I encourage everyone in this House to read my 10-page report on the topic entitled Our Government's Work on Climate Change and the Environment. It is available on my website at terrybeechmp.ca/policy. I have a special guest with me today, Mr. Speaker, my daughter Nova, who is now 5.5 months old. This is her first trip to Ottawa, and I thought that there was no better opportunity for her to visit this House than during a debate on the defining issue of our generation.
Hear, hear.
The IPCC has made our collective impact on the world very clear. Already, the human race has warmed the planet a full degree Celsius above pre-industrial levels. If we do nothing, this will increase to 1.5 degrees between Nova's 12th and 34th birthday. We are running out of time. Climate change should not and cannot be a partisan issue. It needs to be an issue that brings us together so that we collectively bring all of our tools to the fight. I come to this House every day hoping to be inspired, not just by my own party, but by all of the amazing and talented people that Canadians have sent to this place to fight on behalf of our collective futures. Working together and alongside our colleagues in the world, I know we can solve this. There have been people referring to different versions of the Green New Deal as a potential path forward. The version I am most familiar with is House Resolution 109 brought forward by Ms. Ocasio-Cortez in the United States. After reading this resolution, it is quite inspiring to see how much contemporary Canadian policy has already made its way into the proposed Green New Deal. Here are some quick examples, 10 quick examples to be specific. Number one, the Green New Deal calls for a reduction in emissions with a goal of reaching net zero. In Canada, we have a national price on pollution as part of a 50-point plan to lower emissions. Number two, the creation of good, high-paying jobs, especially in the clean energy sector. In Canada, we have created more than a million jobs in the last 3.5 years, many of which are in the clean energy sector. Number three, major investments in infrastructure. Our historic $180 billion infrastructure plan is shortening commutes, protecting our environment, and making life more affordable. Number four, to secure clean water, air, and soil. We've restored and modernized environmental protections and legislation, invested billions in protecting and restoring habitat, and phased out the use of coal, just to name a few. Number five, to empower Indigenous people to thrive. No relationship is more important to our government, which is why we are taking unprecedented action to ensure Indigenous Canadians a more prosperous future. Number six, to have 100% clean power. We are on track to have 90% of our power come from non-emitting sources before 2030.
Excellent.
Number seven, to upgrade buildings to be more energy efficient. In Budget 2019, we dedicated more than $1 billion to do just that. Number eight, to invest in transportation infrastructure and electric vehicles. Just this week, we announced a further $1.4 billion investment in SkyTrain capacity, not to mention the $300 million in electric vehicle incentives and $250 million in charging infrastructure that has already been announced. Canadians have told us that they want to drive their electric vehicles from Vancouver Island to Prince Edward Island, Mr. Speaker, and we're making that a reality. Number nine, to increase forestation. Canada has long been a leader in sustainable forest management, another environmental issue that BC has shown leadership on. And number 10, to invest in research, we'll talk about the Conservative plan later, to invest in research and development. Our government has recommitted Canada to be a leader in research, science, and development. In Budget 2018, we made the largest investment in science and university research in Canadian history. Obviously, these measures don't get us the whole way we need to go, but they do represent a significant down payment that is putting Canada on the right track. Just this month, Clean Energy Canada, a think tank at Simon Fraser University, released a new report entitled Missing the Bigger Picture. In this report, they detailed the extraordinary growth of the Canadian clean energy sector. Canada's clean energy sector grew at an annual rate of 4.8% over a period of 7 years, In 2017, this sector accounted for 298,000 jobs spread across every province. In 2017 alone, there was $35.3 billion invested in this space. $5.3 billion was invested in British Columbia and accounted for 32,000 British Columbia jobs. British Columbia's leadership as the first province to set a price on pollution has given it a noticeable strategic advantage. In fact, if you look at the Global Clean Tech 100 list, out of the 12 Canadian companies that made the list, half of them are located in British Columbia. So let's talk about carbon pricing. In BC, where this was first implemented in 2008, we witnessed a 16% reduction in per capita fossil fuel use, while per capita use increased by 3% in the rest of Canada. During this time, BC also enjoyed the best economic growth in the country. To be clear, a market-based economic incentive has to be a part of the solution if we're going to reverse the trajectory of climate change. And carbon pricing is effective for 4 primary reasons. First, it gives every person in business an economic incentive to make better environmental choices. Second, it speeds up the tipping point at which renewable energy is cheaper than fossil fuels. Third, it gives Canadians an advantage in building innovative clean energy companies and technologies. And fourth, and most importantly, it helps save the planet, and it's the right thing to do for future generations. Right.